Unit 8, Day 1, Determining Linear Equations Algebraically. So recall that the slope y-intercept form of a line is given by the equation y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Also remember that in the last unit, we used graphing to determine equations. Now we're actually going to use algebraic approaches to get the equation. So let's work through some examples. Determine the slope y-intercept form, so y equals mx plus b, of each line algebraically. Part A. This line has a slope of 4 and a y-intercept of 3. So using our slope y-intercept form, we want to plug in 4 for m, and we want to plug in 3 for b. And there's the slope y-intercept form. Part B. This line has a slope of 2 and passes through the point 2, 4. So in this example, we're not given the y-intercept, but we can still figure it out with the information we're given. So first, let's write out our slope y-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. And then let's plug in what we know. So we know the slope is 2, so let's plug that in first for m. Now we still have 3 variables, so we can't solve for anything yet, but we have a point, 2, 4. So we know that this point, 2 represents x, and 4 represents y, so let's plug in those numbers for x and y, and then we can solve for b. So plug in 4 for y, and 2 for x, and then let's isolate for b. So 4 equals 4 plus b. Now let's bring 4 to the other side, so we'll subtract 4 from both sides. These cancel out, and we're left with 0 equals b. So now we know our value of our y-intercept. And now we can just go back to our original equation and plug in both our slope and y-intercept, which is just simply y equals 2x. So in these types of questions, we always want to end up with y equals mx plus b form with m filled in and b filled in. Part C, the line goes through the point of -3, 7 and has a slope of -4. So we want to put it into y equals mx plus b form. Let's plug in what we know. So we know our slope is -4, so we'll plug that in for m. Now we still need to get a value for b. So to do that, let's plug in our point. Let's plug in x, and let's plug in y. So we can plug in 7 for y, and -3 for x, and now we can find b. Subtract 12 from both sides, and we're left with b is equal to 5. And now it's a matter of plugging everything into that y equals mx plus b form. So we can plug in our original -4 for m, and we've found the value of b to be 5. This next example says that the line passes through the points -1, -4, and 3, 8. So we need to put it into y equals mx plus b form. We don't have our value for our slope, m, or our y-intercept, which is b, but can we get one of them from the points that we're given? We could actually use these points to calculate our slope. Remember that slope is equal to delta y over delta x. So let's use these points to find slope. So this is my x1, y1, my x2, y2. So therefore, 8 minus 4 and 3 minus 1 will give us our slope. So 8 plus 4 is 12, and 3 plus 1 is 4, and that reduces to 3 as our slope. So let's plug that in for m. And now to find b, just pick any of the points, plug it in, and solve for b. So let's pick our first point, our x1 and our y1. So -4 is our y, and -1 is our x. Now we need to bring over this -3 to the other side, so we'll add 3 to both sides. This will cancel out, and we're left with -1 as our b. Therefore, our final equation is 3x minus 1.